Okay, I'm going to jump quickly. I know we'll stretch for time, but I'm going to run through multifamily rentals quickly, which is sort of similar to the new build, but this is this is talking about resale, not necessarily new builds. So in terms of multifamily, I am really interested in the missing middle, and missing middle refers to this general lack of supply of 2 to 6 unit multifamily. You know, back when cities were more walkable, when transit wasn't as widespread, you'd find a lot of single family homes that had multiple units in it. These were typically 2, 3, 4 plex assets. This is what the missing middle is, and we are in dire need of more of it. And this is also my sweet spot when it comes to multifamily rentals, but I layer on the need of missing middle to the new build strategy that I spoke about earlier. So some pros and cons. Oh yeah, quick fun fact about the financing. I think someone asked a question about this, but when you go above 5 units, you're into commercial lending, which is much different than residential lending. The big difference is residential lending is all about comparables. What did a similar asset down the road sell for last week? That's essentially what your price is going to be. With 5 or more units, it's commercial financing, which is based entirely on the income approach, which is based on your net operating income and the cap rate of the local market. So you have a lot more flexibility to control the actual value of your asset. Okay, quick lesson. Moving on. Time for multifamily. If you're not building new, missing middle requires a similar amount of time to acquire as a single family home or condo would. Because basically these are assets with the same general footprint as a single family home. They may be a bit bigger, but they just have more livable units in them. In terms of money, they typically cost a bit more than because there are more units, but they do generate more income. So that's definitely a pro. And so you can therefore make more money because you're generating more rental income per square foot. In terms of experience, the great thing about missing middle is that you don't need a massive amount of experience to acquire these assets. Again, very similar to single family homes, but just bigger and a couple extra units in there. So just quickly, a couple considerations. Missing middle is extremely flexible. You can convert almost anything from a townhouse to a single family home into, at the very least, a duplex. You're limited only by your imagination. Know the market. It's really important that you know rental comps in the area, so you can know exactly what that cash flow is going to be. And you will also have longer timelines because your buyer pool of multifamily is less than if you have a single family home or a condo. You just have to be prepared to hold that asset for a longer period. And a really quick case study I'm going to get into is a duplex plus ADUs, so accessory dwelling units. So we had an empty lot in Ottawa that was zoned for R2, which meant 2 units only. But we were able to build the duplex with large basement accessory dwelling units, in-law suites as well, granny suites, but essentially non-conforming units in the basements. So that essentially turned this project into a de facto 4-plex. So we easily found tenants, particularly because this was a new build. And the best thing about missing middle is that you can find these gems anywhere. And the lot we built on was severed from a larger residential lot that had a massive backyard. And it was simply a matter of looking at this one lot and saying, you know what, they have a lot of extra space on this backyard. It's on a main street. Let's sever the lot and build something here. So quickly, some best practices. Because you may be converting or adding ADUs, make sure you're intimately familiar with your local zoning laws and building codes. And again, I mentioned before insurance, but I don't need to go over that again.